Hello everyone. In this video I'll be talking about pollination. Pollination is a process of transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. So the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to stigma of a flower is known as pollination. Now pollination has two types. The first type is known as self-pollination and the second type is known as cross-pollination. In self-pollination, we have two subtypes. The first subtype is known as autogamy and the second subtype is known as geitonogamy. Cross-pollination has only one subtype and that is xenogamy. Now let us understand the meaning of these three terms: autogamy, geitonogamy and xenogamy. Autogamy is the transfer of pollen from the anther of a flower that is transferred to the stigma of the same flower. So in this, the same flower of the same plant are involved. In geitonogamy, the transfer of pollen grain occurs from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same plant. So in this, different flowers are involved of the same plant. Now last term is xenogamy. Here the pollen from the anther of one plant is transferred to the stigma of another flower of different plant. So here different flowers of different plant are involved. Now please note that in bisexual flower, all the three types of pollination, autogamy, geitonogamy and xenogamy are possible. For example, in case of sweet potato. In unisexual flower, only geitonogamy and xenogamy are possible. For example, in case of cucurbita, coconut, castor, maize, etc. Now there is unisexual plant as well. Unisexual plant. Unisexual plant means this type of plant contain only one sex flowers, either male or female. In this, only xenogamy is possible. For example, in case of date palm and papaya. Now there are certain conditions which are required for autogamy, geitonogamy and xenogamy. So let us discuss this one by one. First, the conditions for autogamy. The first condition is there should be a bisexual flower. Second is the anther, that is the male part, and stigma, the female reproductive part. They should mature simultaneously. This process is also known as the synchronization of maturation. Synchronization of maturation. In this process, in autogamy, there are no requirement of pollinators. So no pollinators are required. Next condition is it can occur in open as well as closed flower. And the last is, in this process, in autogamy, there is very less variation is seen. So the variation, the changes are very less here. Next is conditions for geitonogamy. The first condition is it requires a bisexual plant. Next is it requires pollinators. Why? Because it is occurring from one flower to the another of the same plant. Right? Next is functionally the geitonogamy is similar to xenogamy, but genetically it is autogamy. Now last is conditions for xenogamy. First is the plant should be different, but it is of the same species. The plants are different, but the plants belong to the same species. Next is it needs pollinators. It needs pollinators. In this type of pollination, in xenogamy, maximum variation is seen. In this, maximum variation is seen. So this is all about pollination. If you have any question, you can leave a comment. Thank you so much for today and have a great day.